I tell you. I don't see anybody. Just start. You're sharing screen. How many people are in the class? 6. Four. Are we ready? Hmm? Good afternoon and welcome to Module 4 of our entrepreneurship training for the Central Bank NISA Microfinance Loan. How many of us are in this class so far? Can you give me the video? Let's indicate our presence by raising up our hands. How many of us are here? Journey M5 Plus. Maria Ba. Maria Ba, can you indicate by raising up your hand your presence? Honestly, I want to be sure of the people in the class so that I don't go back. So they listen. Okay, can we continue? We're going to be looking at effective sales and marketing strategies today. How do we market our products? How do we sell our products? Again, how do we sell? How do we market and sell our products? In our objectives today, we'll be defining marketing and understanding the steps in our marketing process. We'll try to know the difference between what marketing is and what sales is. We'll try to look at the key elements in selling our products and the marketing mix to support it. We'll also try to improve your selling skills. After this training, you should be able to know how to sell better your products. And we'll also investigate the importance of market research and information gathering in our decision-making process. Then how to put our total marketing plan to action. At this point in time, we'll look at different definitions of marketing and how it works before we go into the nitty-gritty. Marketing can be defined as the activity or set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers. It's an activity. It can be a set of institutions. It's a process of creating, communicating, and delivering, and then exchanging offerings that have value for our customers. That's according to the American Marketing Association. Dr. Philip Kotler in 2011, November, defined marketing as the science and the art of exploring, creating, and delivering value to satisfy the needs of a target market. That means every value that you create must meet the needs of a target market. The Chartered Institute of Marketing defined marketing as the management of process responsible for one, identifying, 2, anticipating, and 3, satisfying the customer's requirements profitably. Having identified and satisfied the customer requirement, it must yield profit for you. It is also the process of getting the right products and services to the right customers at the right place and price, using the right promotions and publicity to reach them. Generally, marketing is targeted at changing the motive of purchase of your target customers. Why do they have to buy your product? It is more likely to buy than when you market to them directly. So, in a simple term, the process marketing is the process of understanding your customer, number one, building and maintaining a profitable relationship with that customer. That means the relationship will be mutually beneficial. The person is getting value from you, and you are getting paid for that value. What is sales, therefore? Sales can be defined as the exchange of goods for money or compensation. That is the re-exchange, where a product goes out and money comes in place of the product. And it is also satisfying the customer's need or want. What value are you giving to the customer? That value must meet the need and the want of that customer. That's why the customer is exchanging his money for the value that is coming in goods. So sales is actually the pitch part of marketing, concerned with how you persuade the customer to buy the product or services of your organization. In any case, we'll have to compare sales to marketing and see where they differ. I often say that there's, the general mistake in the out there in the fora is that sales and marketing are the same thing, but we'll look at it and see why they are not the same thing today. Marketing, in the first place, is about studying the customer's need and his wants in a defined market segment. Why sales is making that exchange to happen. Having defined the market, a product needs to be delivered to the buyer. That's what sales is all about. Marketing measures company's image and customer satisfaction on a continuous basis. That is, how does the customer feel? Is he satisfied? Does he need improvement? And so on and so forth. While sales try to give the same customer the best solution, that is hands-on solution. They are not trying to measure anything, but to make sure that the product is available when it is needed and it meets the condition, the needs of that customer. Marketing develops communication strategy feedback. Continuously, as you communicate with your customer or your market, you need to get feedback from them. But sales provide direct customer feedback, because during sales, it's a one-to-one situation all the time. You are looking at your customer directly on the face, and you are presenting your product, the qualities of your product, and convincing the customer to buy. So you know from him whether a yes is a yes or a no is a no. That's what we mean by it provides direct customer response. Marketing develops winning offers for each target segment. While in terms of sales serve the same customers for a long period of time. Marketing has opened the door for a customer to be acquired. Sales will have to service that customer for a long time to come, as long as the customer continues to use the product. Going forward, we'll be looking at the P's of marketing, about 6 P's of marketing in the marketing mix. That will give us a clearer picture of what our marketing plan will be at the end of the day. So the P's of marketing are thus: the product, the place of the product, the price of the product, the distribution process of the product, the promotion and communication of that product. What is a product? A product is that must meet a defined need. That need is always on the customer's end. So a product should be designed to meet a particular need of a customer. A product establishes demand through market testing. Market testing, as we'll be looking at in future slides to come, we'll be dealing with market research and investigations and findings. From market testing, from research, from investigation, you can establish what particular product will go for a particular market. That is by establishing the demand. Then lastly, your product goes to market and does well because of your USP, which is your unique selling proposition. Your unique selling proposition are very, very, very clear benefits and features that differentiate your product from the competition. But as time goes on, your unique selling proposition can change. It can be improved on as the business continues to grow. The distribution. How do you distribute your products? What is the logistic involved in getting your products from the place of manufacture to the place of sale? How and where the product is sold to customers, it matters in this process. Then the location where your sales are made. Is it in the open market? Is it in a cluster market? Is it in a warehouse? Is it in a store? Is it in a shopping mall, etc., etc.? Those are locations for where your products can be sold. Then your intermediaries, such as your wholesalers, your retailers, or sales agents. How importantly to use these people to reach the end users of your product. You cannot manufacture a product, for instance, if you're making water, or if you're making furniture, or if you're, etc., etc. Carry your products on the hand in the street and then be selling. There are agents that are responsible for that. And for those agents to get your product, there are retailers that they are attached with. And those retailers are attached to your wholesalers. That is your chain of distribution. If you don't get this right, you will discover that you are manufacturing and your product is not penetrating the market the way you're supposed to be doing. Then the price of that product, the price is very important because that is what generates your income and most importantly, your profit. All other elements of the marketing mix comes with a cost. Whatever, even your thinking process, your telephone calls, your communication, and so on and so forth, all comes with a cost. So you must understand the relationship between what is the cost, the price, and the profit. The cost, therefore, is what it costs you to make a product, including your time, your materials, and your overheads. What does it cost? Put together all these items. How much does it come to? Then the price is what you can charge in the marketplace based on the value that you have put out on your product and the cost which we looked at initially. What you can charge that is actually the value of the product and then the cost. Therefore, if you want to look at your profit margin, you will subtract costs from your price. That margin will determine your profit. And you're in business to make money, so you must be cautious of your margin. Either it's 30% or it's 20% or it's 15%, depending on the actual cost of that product. And what the competition is charging in the market also is something to be mindful of. The promotion, how do you make people to become aware of your product? How do you create awareness? How do you create visibility? That's the promotion we're talking about here. You consider who your customers are and how best to reach them through your communications. Who are these customers? Are they people that listen to radio more than watch television? Are they people who are very, very active online, therefore they can be reached by Facebook, by Instagram, or by WhatsApp messages? You need to, trace your customers before you tailor your communications in order to achieve your results. Then market segmentation also. You divide the general target market into smaller sub-markets made up of people with same needs. This helps you to target them in the right way. What you would, the kind of communication, for instance, if you are doing a market storm and maybe your products are dairies or confectionaries like biscuits, chewing gums, etc., and you go to Wuse Market and you are doing a market storm, you put up your truck, your speakers, your music, and then you're drawing attention. Maybe you have some promoters around, sharing your leaflets or flyers and the products directly. They are doing direct sales. You cannot do the same thing in some other places like a park or like a mall. You may have to take another route to be able to target them in the right way. The same set of people, but different kind of communication processes. That's what I'm trying to explain. Under promotion, again, you have sub-markets. And you can use the following items to profile and divide your consumer markets. One is the behavior of the consumer. How frequently does he use your product? What are his impressions when he uses your product? And how convenient is it for him to use your product? Then the character of this consumer we're talking about, his lifestyle, his personality. Is he a trendsetter? Is he a follower? A trendsetter is somebody who's ahead of the pack, who sets the pace for other people to follow. And a follower is the person who follows the trendsetter. And then you look at other socioeconomic factors like profession of the person, his income bracket, his location, where does he stay, in the city center or in the satellite towns, etc., etc. Since we're in Abuja. Then his buying patterns. His buying patterns. Does he buy weekly? Does he buy monthly? Does he buy in bulk? Does he buy in bits? Then his loyalty to the brand, to your product. And then the age of the person and his gender, male or female. Under submarkets, again, we have the issue of segmentation of market size. Market. If we're segmenting business market, we consider some of the following considerations: the size of the company, the type of industry that the product is playing in. If you are making block, if you have a block industry, for instance, you are in the construction industry type. If you are making water, pure water and table water, you are in the entire water and mineral water business type of industry. That's what I mean. Then your location, where is your company at? Then when you now put all this together, you look at the market itself. The potential market for you are those in the entire the total population that you have looked at as your market, who have interest in acquiring the product you have to sell. It is not everybody that you think is within your locale, for instance, where you are located, that will be interested in using your product. So if the person is not interested in using your product, it's not your potential market. But your potential market is those whom you have profiled and you know they have the tendency of using your product. Then there's the available market, those within this same potential market who have enough money to buy the product. Some desire to buy the product, to use your product, but the economic power is not there. They don't have enough money to buy it. Those ones are prospects for you for the future, supposing their economic situation changes and they can purchase your product. But you cannot define them as direct available market. The real available market are those who have money in the pocket to purchase your product per time. Then there is a qualified available market. These people are available, but they are not legally permitted to buy your product. Those in the available market already, they are not legally permitted to buy your product. Such products have some limitations in regulatory issues, like products like beverages and alcohol, uh, tobacco, cigarettes, some pharmaceutical products that are said to not be above the counter sale. You cannot buy it except you have a doctor's prescription. If you go to alcohol, they'll tell you it's for people above 18, 18 plus. It's already written there, and the cigarette is written there, which means people below certain age cannot buy that product, but they have the money to buy the product. So they find themselves within the qualified available market. You have to be mindful of that because of legal issues. And I'm sure that by the time you take your law course in this training, it will open your eyes more. Then there's the target market, the segment of the qualified available market that you have decided to serve. Not everybody is your customer. There are people that you have profiled, you know that when you turn out your product and push them out, they will definitely buy your product because probably you were a vendor before you became a manufacturer, and then you were selling certain products in that category to them. So you already know that if you begin to manufacture your own product, they will be there to buy your product. So they are already your target market. You are sure of that market. So market segmentation generally is a marketing strategy which involves you dividing a broad target market into subsets of customers. It can be business, it can be country. Countries have states, they have local government. Businesses have group, they have branches, etc., etc., etc. Marketing and promotional tools. How do you get your product noticed? How do people become aware that you have such products in the market? How do you generate followership for your product? As many as the promotional tools that are available for us to use, not everyone can work for every business. And your method of application can change as your business develops or grows. But you must be very, very aware of the following things. Promotional tools. Under promotional tools, we have what message do you want to communicate? What do you want people to hear? What do you want people to understand about your product? That's the message. Who are you speaking to? Are you talking to adults? Are you talking to children? Are you talking to women? Are you talking to men? Are you talking to, just as the market is segmented, you need to define who your audience is. You cannot be producing a product that only women use and you want to target men also as your audience. You understand? This product is for females. So your primary target should be, your primary audience should be the females. Everything you tailor in your communication should go towards a female population. And then as you are profiling them, what is the best way to communicate with them? Is it through the radio? Is it through the television? Is it through the new media? How do you communicate with them? And how much do you have to spend anyway in your communication? If you want to use the new media, which is online, you know that you have to purchase data. Maybe you didn't have a router before, you need to buy a router because you want to generate a lot of information out. And your data bundles will now come in tens of thousands that you spend week in, week out to communicate. If you go on radio, you have to buy airtime for your radio commercial to be aired, or television, and vice versa. And then by the time you finish your communication process, how do you want to know, what method do you use to find out whether you have been successful in your communication? That means, what is the feedback method you are putting in place? There are 6 main tools for promotion. The first one is public relations, which is about creating and maintaining an image for your business or product. That is the essence of its value and integrity, and that forms your reputation. What makes your product to look good is through PR. That's what I'm trying to say here. Creating and maintaining an image. That image must be good for your business or your product. Looking at the value of that your product, the integrity it holds, and the total of this put together, it forms the reputation of how good you look before your target market. Number two is advertising. And there are three main reasons why we advertise our product. One, we create awareness among the target audience. Number two, we persuade customers to buy our product by promoting the benefits, the unique selling proposition, the USP that we talked about in the beginning. You promote it, you hype it. My product is better than other products in the market, because I have added this, I have done this, the packaging is sweet, it's super, blah, 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 blah. And you're convincing somebody to buy your product. And then to keep up your company profile as in maybe AB class company and so on and so forth. There are newer tools for promotion, which I have mentioned before. That is the new media. And for a company, for an enterprise to be well reckoned with, you need to get the IT people to design for you a very rich and functional website that can allow a company of any size reach customers all over the world. As in, the moment somebody opens your website, it can begin to feel your products immediately, can interact, can ask questions, and then prompt answers are sent to them immediately. So if you plan to sell your product online, then the structure and functionality must allow you to meet the promises and fulfill orders. If you have put the product out there on Facebook and you say people should follow an order, you must have the space for them to fill in their address, their phone number, their email, their so on and so forth, what quantity they want to buy, and then you can deliver to them wherever they are, either in offices, in shops, or at home. That's what we're saying here. Another tool you can use again is direct mailing, which is almost going into extinct, where you send mail to PO boxes, to PNBs, or through DHL or whichever means, and yet you communicate with the people and you expect them to get back to you. You can also do email marketing, which is currently also in works. It works. You harvest email addresses and send out bulk email messages for responses to come to you. And then telemarketing. You harvest numbers of contacts on your phone, or you buy from the telcos, and then you send messages to all the numbers within your data. So other tools of promotion, again, we look at sales promotion. Sales promotion is very common. It's something that we all participate in, but we do not take heed to know why it happens. There are short-term activities to encourage customers to buy and to boost sales for a limited period of time. Christmas, we just celebrated Christmas not up to a month ago, and there were a lot of sales promotion that started since November of 2020 to the end of the year, because it was a Christmas season. It was a season that people spend a lot of money that they have saved over the year. It is the season that people buy so much and so on and so forth. So in order for us to boost sales for that kind of period, you understand, you put in a program like buy one, get one free, for instance, or extended guarantees or coupons or whatever you want to use to encourage people to buy more of the product. The essence of that is to boost sales immediately and generate more revenue. But in doing that, we have to also be careful so that we don't discount our products continuously, and people will be looking at us as if we are trying to push out expired products or something like that. So we have to be careful. That's why it is a short-term activity. It can be Easter, it can be the upcoming February 14th, Valentine, or the big Salah, and so on and so forth. Then there's personal selling, other tools of promotion. It enables you to listen to the prospect or existing customer, his needs, and allows you to convert the value of your business. This is where you have a one-to-one interaction with somebody. You convince the person to buy, persuade the person to buy your product. He or she gives her own feelings, whether she doesn't want to buy or she may not want to buy immediately. But if you're able to put together your unique selling proposition and the value of what you're placing for her to buy or him to buy, you can make a sale. This personal interaction also offers a valuable opportunity for you to get first-hand feedback on your product and your competition. What this means is that your product hits this guy that you're sitting face-to-face with, and he looks at it, maybe your product looks like Coca-Cola, and but yours is not Coca-Cola, but you're trying to tell him that, yeah, this is a cola product, a new one that is as good as Coca-Cola. He can begin to tell you the inherent benefits there are in Coca-Cola. For him, he has been using it for a long time. So you're trying to churn him to, buy your own product, which is also a cola. So you need to, after having, explained the values that your own have, you will now have the opportunity to get first-hand feedback, like him criticizing your product. The packaging is not as fine as Coca-Cola, or I think I've tested it. The sweetener is too much. I think there's less sugar in this, and blah, blah, blah. That's what we mean. It's comparing you to the competition. So marketing mix is a unique blend of products, price, promotion, distribution, that's your place, and targeting a specific group of people. Now, there's a little to it that is called the expanded marketing mix, which is the people, which is called the customers, the customer service, the process, that is of handling a customer's complaint, that's customer management, and the physical environment, the shop, the pharmacy, the store, the look and feel of where your location is. The marketing process makes you to understand the customer's need and wants, and then you design a customer-driven market strategy, construct your marketing program, and then you build a profitable relationship with the customer. You capture value from those customers. Reviewing the marketing process again, you know that you have to understand the customer needs and wants. You have to research consumers and the marketplace. Your consumers are your customers. The marketplace is wherever they spend their money to buy your products. You need to know the nitty-gritty details about how those places work and how your consumer is purchasing power and his buying pattern. And then you manage the marketing information and customer data that you have in your data bank. You select your customers to serve. I've mentioned that before, that there are some customers that may like your product, but they can't afford to buy it. There are those that you are sure of can always buy your product. You understand? So that is your target market. So you do market segmentation and targeting. Then you propose your value and your point of differentiation and positioning between yourself, your competition, or your competitors in the market. Having done that, you construct a marketing program that delivers value. Product and service design. Your brand must be very strong. Your colors, your packaging should look sweet, so that when somebody sees your product immediately, he can begin to buy in by emotion, first of all, before now making a decision to purchase your product. Then the price has to be real. It has to be real because if you overprice your products in the open marketplace, it's likely that you're going to lose customers that you don't already have, or you're going to scare people away because they think that the value, the price they are placed on your value is higher than what the value really is. That way, you are failing before you start. So you need to be very, very careful about how you investigate on how to value your products and put a price on it. And the place where people go to buy your product, you need to manage your demand and supply. I've talked about the distribution process, how product gets from you to the end user, the people in between, the distributors, the retailers, the sales agents, and so on and so forth. Then the promotion. With promotion, the way you make people become aware of your product, the publicity generated, create the value proposition that your product needs. Having done all that, now you have acquired the customer. So you build a profitable relationship with that customer, not just profitable, but mutually beneficial. This is where customer relation management comes in. You don't want to take your customers for granted because they're always buying your product. You take it for granted that they're always there for you, not knowing that there are competitions in the market, and not knowing that also your refusal to manage the customer well will make him feel otherwise and decide to go to another place to buy the same product that you think is the king of the market. Then there's the product relationship management, your selected suppliers, your dealers rather, your retailers, etc., etc. From time to time, you need to check on them. Sometimes you need to meet with some of them. That is why you have some companies have stuff like dealers conference, like suppliers conference, like distribution chain conference, or dinner and so on and so forth. You hear them saying the best dealer of the year. You give them prizes, some cars, some electrical appliances, some even money and products, and so on and so forth. Now that you have stable customer base, the essence of managing the customer well is to generate revenue and earn profit. Then you create loyal and satisfied customers by keeping in touch with them, by bonding with them. You don't just treat your customer with askers. Some customers are there who are constantly going to be calling you to complain about what doesn't even exist. You still need to manage that customer. And with so doing, and all this process we'll talk about, you put them in place, you can increase your market share. What this means is this. You came into the market, there are two or three other products. Let's take plantain chips, for instance. You came into the plantain chips market. That's value added now to plantain. And you're frying and packaging plantain chips, and then pushing them out. And people are coming to buy from stores, and retailers and distributors are coming to buy from your factory to now push into the market. And you do so well in your first year. There are other competing brands in the market even before you came, and some will still be coming while you are there. And even if you exit, some will also take your place. But as long as you are there, if you are doing well in managing your customers, managing your process very well, if your share was 15% 2020, it's likely that in 2021 end of financial year, your market share would have increased to 30% or 35 or 40%, as the case may be, if you do well. Now, before we looked at our marketing process, we also mentioned research somewhere, and I said that in further slides, we'll look at research deeply and see its place and see how research works as we put our marketing plan in place. So we're going to look at the importance of market research going forward. How do we apply our market research data? I mean, when we send questionnaires out to people to fill and bring it back, what do we do with them? One, we use them for decision making and validation. Number two, we use it for our marketing strategy and planning, because the planning is a continuous process. And then we use it to determine our cost benefit analysis. We also use research results for our product and process development. This product has been in the market for 2 years. People are becoming too used to it. From your research findings, what do you need to do? You need to change the logo, you need to change the packaging, blah, blah, blah. That is the product and process of development. You also use research results to analyze issues concerning your presence in the market, how your customers are reacting to you, and so on and so forth. We use it to also find new opportunities in the market. Because when you go to the market to investigate and ask questions about how your product is doing in the market, you get feedback on how you could have done better, how you can expand your market, and so on and so forth. Research results also helps us to focus our effort on particular area that we need to do and to monitor our performances. However, there are some challenges in our efforts in trying to access market information. One of the things that can affect us is information overload. When we ask a simple question and there are too many answers that we don't need, that is an information overload. In this age and time, poor internet access is one problem that you can have in trying to get information for your research. There could be lack of availability of the same internet that we're talking about. There's high cost in data purchase, or there's lack of training and skills. High cost in data purchase, lack of availability or poor internet access. There are about 20-something people in this class, I guess, or thereabout, followed the first 2 days of the training. So many people were complaining because of their location, of inability to hook up to the Zoom class. This is what we are talking about here. There's also lack of awareness of local institutions providing market information. And this happens a lot with us as entrepreneurs. So many of us didn't know that the NISA Microfinance Bank, set up by the Central Bank of Nigeria under their intervention program for economic growth, was providing loans for entrepreneurs to access such loans and expand or start a new business. But you go to your microfinance bank, you go to your local bank, it can be Access Bank, it can be Zenith Bank, and these informations are supposed to be there for you to look into. But when you have lack of awareness, even if you go to the banks itself, some of the officers, or if not all, don't even have the information to give to you, except when you interact with the provider directly. Then there's limited resources in terms of market visits, ratios, or roadshows, or trade fairs. You are very big in the fish industry, for instance, in fishery, and you have a lot of products from your fish farm. Apart from the fish and the fingerlings, maybe you are making feed meal for fish. Now, when there are trade shows like trade fairs, you need to go and exhibit your wares there for people to go aware of the product and even buy directly, then come to your factory or your farm to buy. You don't have enough money to go there. You don't have enough money to conduct market research. You understand? Or rather, research is not your priority. These are some of the challenges that in our efforts in trying to access information we will be facing. But there are there are two types of sources for for data when we want to conduct our research. There is the primary data, and then there is the secondary data. But we explain it in detail so that we understand. There are things, these are things that we know, we see every day, but until it is explained to you, then you will now see the reason why you have to apply research in terms of building your product and even improving your services in the market. Your secondary data is mostly external sources, like government, like your business or trade association. What business and trade association means is association of rice farmers, association of fish farmers, association of furniture makers, association of this, that, institute of chartered accountants, institute of taxation. That's what business and trade association means. You get a lot of information on your business by belonging to these people. Then you have your trade magazines and newspapers. Trade newspapers are business day papers like Business Day, Guardian on Tuesdays. You have trade magazines, specifically for businesses, like let me say the Tenders, the Tenders magazine being sold on the street of Abuja here. For those who are into the business of tender for expression of interest, those are the kind of things I mean. Then your financial institutions, your banks, your microfinance bank, etc., etc. Then the national trade publications, which are not very popular these days, like the yellow pages of those days. There are also additional sources of information, business library or whatever is being replaced by Google today. Anything you want to Google, you see. Trade directories, those ones are almost gone into extinction. Then your professional institutes, which I have mentioned earlier on, are your secondary source of data. Now, primary research as a source of data is quantitative research and market data. It has a wide range, but is the most commonly used. For you to be able to do that, you look at your population size, you look at the demographic patterns, you look at the production volumes. If you're into export sales, trade, then you look at export sales or import volume. Then there's individual level of this data acquisition, right? When you are talking to individuals, every respondent asks same series of questions from you on what you are trying to investigate. The best known technique that is used here is called market research survey, which the reason why I said is something we do every day, but until we go through this process, we may not catch the phrase. Market research survey is not new to any of us, but as entrepreneurs, maybe before we even started our new venture, let us say your business is not a startup. You didn't carry out a research on your marketplace, on your targets, on your market possibilities and problems that you may face as you go into the market. Maybe you are not an already existing business, you are a business that is a new startup. You have not conducted research on why poultry farming is the best thing for you to do, what experience you have in there, and how you will function in the market and how people will buy your products. They have not done that research. But now you know the place of research in the business you are trying to do. And then we have quantitative surveys. You can send a questionnaire by post to somebody to complete and send back to you. You can do face-to-face, that's direct application of questionnaire, for instance. You go to the market or you do your cluster selection, you select the people you want to talk to, you go and sit down with them, it's either you feel for them or they feel for you directly, and then your questionnaire is complete, you compile them and go back to to like do your data analysis and get your result. Then you can do it through telephone too. That one is no longer face to face. You said you call the number, ask your questions, write. You're writing as you're asking, and then send emails and the rest of them, and you get your responses. So qualitative research, which is primary research, examines people's feelings and attitudes towards your product. What motivates them, for instance, in buying your product, or what demotivates them from buying your product. When you are conducting a qualitative research, you have a discussion guide that you use to explore various in-depth issues. You don't have to have a fixed set of questions, but you can ask questions from time to time as the interaction goes on. And it's usually face-to-face, one-on-one, you're talking to the person and then you're getting your response from the person. Then there's online sources of data under primary research, which are like subjects and sites of your interest. These days, with Google is an oracle. If fishing is your site of interest, if you just Google fishery, it will give you what you need from there. You have market data, you have country data. All this can be harvested from online sources. And then company websites is a big source of primary resource data for you. So primary research techniques generally are observations, your interviews, your surveys, and your questionnaires. Those are the real primary research techniques. But there are challenges of research data that you face. For instance, in secondary research, before you can make it to become a success, you have to complement it with your primary field study. Because, like I said from the beginning, secondary research data is too broad. It's not specific like primary research data. So constraints of secondary research includes absence of specific information. You're asking for A. They're giving you an option of B, C, D, E, which is not relevant to what you want to do. There's difficulty in identifying the relevant secondary information because it's too broad, too large. And sometimes there's protected information where you have to do with government. For instance, they will tell you that certain information is official, is gazetted, it cannot be released, so on and so forth. Then there is availability and usability. Sometimes the information is available, but it's not suitable for what you want to achieve. And there could be contradictory information. A against B, you are looking for B, you are getting A. That's contradiction. And so on and so forth. So when you want to carry out a research, you need to set your objectives. How does a company decide what information to collect? What is the reason behind the research? Why are we going to conduct a research in the first place? And what information do we actually need? So when we get the information, what will the research data be used for? That's the second objective. And the third objective is, how should the company respond when the information is gathered? But again, you need to know some things about your customers in trying to do your research. The target, who are they? Are they decision makers? Are they people who, as you talk to them, immediately they will take a decision on what you are trying to investigate? You have to know their needs. You have to know their wants. What do you need to solve for them? What problem do you need to solve for them? You have to also know what motivates them to buy your particular product. Why is it of interest to them to spend money buying your product? You have to look at your value perception. How does the person perceive the value equation of your product? How did you present your product as preferable, as catchy, as sweet, and blah, 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 blah? You have to be able to perceive that value equation. Importantly, you need to ask the question, who is your competition? Is there any product you want to introduce into the market today that you are the only person that is making that product? No, there's nothing that is new in this life. Anything that you bring, any innovation that you bring, somebody has done something like that before, is doing the same thing, and who will do the same thing even after your own comes in. So after identifying your target market, you must build an understanding of the competitive conditions. What are your comparative advantage? For instance, if there are plenty competitors in the market, I mentioned the value chain of plantain, which is the chips that they put in the package these days and we buy as a snack. You look at it very well. For the properly packaged companies, you may discover that there are more than 1,000 of them in Nigeria today producing plantain chips. So you have to look at how strong your competition is and how you position your own product. Then always know the value equation. Don't overblow it in the marketplace so that your price can be competitive. Start my video. Sorry, guys, there was a break in transmission. There was a power cut, but we'll try to put on the gen, but we can continue from here. So I said you must be aware of your value equation from time to time so that you don't overprice your product in the market. So in conclusion, the question that people will normally ask is, can you do market research all the time? The answer is yes. As long as the product life cycle is, going around like a 360 stuff, you need to carry out your research from time to time. In the final part of this course, we'll be looking at your selling skills. I haven't gone through all the process of your product packaging, the marketing process, and so on and so forth. The main thing now is, how do you sell your product? What skills do you need to effectively sell your product, not market your product, as the case may be? What do your customers care about? The people you go out there and you want them to buy your product, your wholesalers, your dealers, your retailers, and so on and so forth. What they care about, and the people who use it, who use your product, they care about themselves. They care about their wants, they care about their needs and their desires. What do they buy? What is it in what is in your product that they buy? So there are things you have to know about your customer, and you should know it very well. Your targets, who are they? Like I asked before, the person a decision maker or a follow. What are their needs? What are their wants? What do you need to solve for them? Then the value perception, the way they look at your product. So in dissecting sales now, the skill that we require to sell our product effectively. Number one, you have to be an effective communicator. What that means is that your communication must be very clear, very apt, and direct, that somebody will understand. The moment you say something, the person is understanding it immediately. You need to have the ability to listen. The ability to listen is scarce in so many people, because it's not only when you make noise that you're not listening, but when you're not concentrating on what somebody is telling you, you're not listening. Or when somebody is talking to you, you are distracted in your thoughts or your mental process by other issues that that's bothering you, or that you are looking to solve problems with. That is your ability to listen. Learn how to ask great questions properly. There's nothing bad in asking questions about how a customer feels about your product. For instance, if you make a pitch, but you have to ask the questions properly. And then finally, you need to be a problem solver. Somebody who at the spot can say, okay, this is a problem I've identified, this is how to solve it. You need to be well organized, and you need to be a self-starter, and whatever you start, you must finish it. So you need to be a finisher as well. You need to be well-mannered and cautious. That is, you carry yourself as a gentleman or a woman, and then be very polite in your way of communication. Then you need to be naturally persuasive. What it means is you need to have the convincing power to convince somebody to part with his or her money for your product, as the case may be. You have to have a positive attitude when you are going to sell your product. You need to develop an attitude of persistence and determination. Even the person is resisting, the person is codedly telling you that I don't want to buy, I don't have money to buy. You need to develop that attitude of persistence and determination, and then develop an attitude of superior quality. Your product is high up there. Your product has these qualities. Your product is these are the reasons why you have to patronize your product, because you have been able to establish the unique selling points and the value perception and so on and so forth. So a selling attitude requires you to always maintain a pleasant personality. Before you do anything else in sales, you need to sell yourself. You need to know your product on your fingertips. There are certain people who will come to pitch product to you because they were not part of the production of the product, and they were not put through the usability of the product and the benefits on the product. They will be blabbing about the product until you read a leaflet or you read the body of the package itself before you will even know what they're talking about. So you need to know your product hands-on. You have all the important things at the tips of your fingers. So you need to know the value equation already, which we have been talking about since. And who is your competition? You need to find out. You need to know, so that if somebody is referring you to this other product and blah, you can also tell the person that this is what differentiates you from this product, or your product from that product. You need to know why your customer should buy from you instead of your competition. I gave example of pure water business the other time, table water business the other time. So many of them around us here now, but for every individual in this class, you know that there's one or two particular water that meets your need when you become tested, or that you use in your house, or that you use in your office, or in your shop, or and so on and so forth. So in trying to do that, as you now, the businessman going to sell your product out there, you should know the reason why that particular target customer must buy from you instead of your competition. So getting into the position to sell, you target your customer, you know who is the decision maker in that process. Is it the oga? Is it the owner of the shop? Is it the manager of the shop? Is it the accountant or the purchasing manager that makes decision for purchase? If you cannot, I will not do all these things that we have named, that we have mentioned above. you need to hire it done. You need to get people to now do your sales process for you. And there are agencies and companies that have specialty in selling products out there. When you are preparing for the sales call, package yourself. Have no negative ears about yourself. Research your client. Find out about your client. This man you are going to meet. What kind of person is he? This woman I'm going to meet. How does she behave to new new people bringing in new products to her domain? You need to find out all this. That's researching your client. And then be on time always. You have been given an appointment for 9 o'clock. You shouldn't be there by 9 o'clock. By 15 minutes to 9, you should be there. And the person should know that you are there for a 9 o'clock appointment, not by 9:15, 9:30, you're not there. And the person is going out and then you come in. You have lost the market. Then your sales presentation in a nutshell, your approach, your presence, you have to take note of objections. Objections are questions that they will ask you. And then your negotiations, my price is this is the price we can afford because that guy is selling for so and so price. No, we can't do that. We need to come here, you need to shift your grounds, and then we conclude and then we close a deal. That is, we have done the proper sales process. Now, during your sales presentation, the body of the presentation should use all senses possible. There are 7 senses that you use all the senses that is possible to make sure that your sales happen. Be aware of clues, body language, when you're talking to somebody and the person is not showing interest or the person is becoming tired of what you are saying. You need to change your style. You have to answer questions when they are raised, or you to ask questions when the person is not understanding, so on and so forth. Then you make a logical, investment and end it by feeling the need of the person. You may need to, like, after finding out, discussing with the person, the kind of expectation the person has and blah, 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 blah. Your product should be able to to satisfy the need of that target. And every time that you have opportunity to come before somebody in a sales pitch, sell the benefits of your product all the time. Objections are your best friends. For instance, objections are the client telling you how to sell to them. You have brought your product to sell to a client, and he's trying to lecture you on how to sell to them. I'm sure you guys have, witnessed this kind of thing before. Please expect it always. There are people who are very difficult to sell to. They'll give you every reason why they shouldn't buy from you or should spend their money with you. Even when the person asks you the question, you can also restate that objection. You can ask the question and answer it at the same time. But you answer the question in terms of your product's benefits, and then you move on. When you're negotiating the price and what quantity the target should take from you for instance, you end the body of your presentation with a trial clues. Okay, this biscuit, you are saying that you have various other ranges. Ours is better because it's milk-based and whatever. Can you try it, sir? And he tries it. Wow. I think this is good. I think we'll go for it. He has made a decision already. If the decision is no, you need to ask why. Why it is no, and why he will not buy the product. And then you can continue to persuade. Answer objection, that's every question. Negotiate your price and try, give a trial clues again. Give him the product to taste again and see the person's perception. Then you close by either or. Would you like a delivery on Friday or Okay. Sorry for that break in transmission once more. So in trying to close a deal, like I said, you would want to extract a commitment by, saying like, okay, can we deliver this Friday or next Monday? You are trying to like ensure that there's a date set for this product to be taken off. Somebody may say, well, we cannot buy, we may not have money on ground next week, so leave it and maybe we'll call you in order not to lose that market. You can ask the question, is that the only thing that is stopping you from buying? That is, you will have money next week. Okay, but you can keep it. I'll come back at the end of February to collect my money. That's how to sell. Yeah, you always ask for the order. Always make sure that you ask for an order before you leave that place. Important tips in selling. Listen. Listen always more than you talk. Never or ever talk over the client. Listen to what he has to say. The customer is the king. You regard the customer as the reason why you are in the market. So why argue with the customer? Like, you control the flow of communication. Is complaining, but you are trying to provide answers. So you make it, a two-way communication, not like you want to like show the customer that you know better. And always ask for your order. If you do nothing else for the at all, make sure you ask for the order. And then ask for referrals. If the person is already satisfied with you, can he refer you to another person that you can supply that product? And after all this, you now come to one very important aspect of sales, which is customer service. A lot of people take it for granted because they feel that this guy is already buying stuff from me, so why am I bothered about him? Whether I go to him or I check on him, he will come. He will call you on the phone, you will answer the phone. So the number one, you answer the phone call. Don't leave voice menus. This, I'll call you back later, or somebody calls you, you hold the person on the line for so long. Instead of just solving a small problem quickly, you are just prolonging things. Resolve problems now. Then honor your time frames. For example, if you tell somebody, okay, in a week's time, we should be able to fix the problem. In 3 days' time, always, honor that time and the date that you have given. Complaints are your friend. It goes to show how good you really are when you manage your complaint, when your customers' complaint and solve their problem. Don't run away from complaints. And how do you handle complaints? Don't argue. Always apologize even if you are not wrong. The customer is the key. Give time frame to resolution, like I said, give time, 1 week, 2 weeks. And if you can't meet that time, call and extend the time. Let them know you care and that you're involved with them because they are your customers. What are the 3 most common mistakes people make in sales? Number 1 is not listening to the buyer. Number 2 is not asking for order. You have done everything to pitch, to sell your product, sell the benefits, sell the features, and you don't ask for the order. You have not done any sales. And then forgetting to also sell to your existing customers. I've just said it, taking your customers for granted because they always come to pick up things from your factory, from your shop. You don't need to manage them anymore. You are making a big mistake. You'll be out of the business. And having done all this, the next thing is to apply our entire marketing plan. And then we're good to go into the market. Right now, I've come to the end of the lecture. Thank you very much for your active participation. We'll take a short break for like 2 minutes, then we'll come back for an interaction exercise before you take your. Just take a chill for 2 minutes and then we'll come back and then we'll do our interaction. I'll start it. Are we taking it immediately? Okay, let's take the interaction immediately. I hope we have had a nice time so far, and I can see that Ghana Zakayos. I can see Mrs. Abba somewhere. Gioni M5 Plus. The class is open. Ask your questions, make your observations. Let's interact. Let's share some ideas. Then we'll close. Hello. Hello. Who is using Gioni M5? Unmute yourself now. Maria, unmute yourself. Ghana Zacharias, are you there? Hello? Hello, guys.
Afternoon, sir. Please, I want you to help me to improvise something. I want to put something inside this board. I want you to.
Please, can you speak louder? Can you speak louder?
Possible?
Who is talking? Is that Donatus or?
Already, this one is a old board, and some holes are already there. So I want you to help me with that illustration. But this one is a new one.
Hello, sir.
No.
Hello? That chaos, I can barely hear you. Hello? Donatus, can you unmute yourself if you want? Do you have any questions to ask? Do you have any observations you want to make? Yes, speak. Malaso. Maria, you want to say something?
No, really.
Yes, ma'am. Are you okay with the lecture? Did you learn something new today?
Yeah, of course. I learned a lot.
Okay. You want to share with us?
Okay. I don't even know where because the class is.
Hello. The network is very, very bad, so I just end the class and proceed to take our quiz. We can send questions and observations on WhatsApp on the group. I'll be there to answer you.
Okay.
Yes.